everybody, so the squat is a major focus of working the lower body, and it has the most functional movement patterns, but there are some checkpoints, so let me show them to you. So many people overlook the most important checkpoints when it comes to squatting. So let's just kind of briefly in our head kind of think about, well, really what does go into a squat? So we know that the elbows are tucked in, the head's going to be up, our chest is out, our feet are aligned, our toes are going to be slightly pointed out, and our knees are going to go out as we go down. So that's kind of how it's going to look here. Okay, yeah, that feels about right. Okay. So even when you're doing all those checkpoints right, there's still some things that could be going dramatically wrong. So I want you guys to go find a stick. You can use a dowel. I literally found this outside the house. Hopefully there's not bugs so on it. And we're just gonna do some different checkpoints with this. So the first one, I'm just gonna put this stick on the ground. So to squat properly, you should be square. Feet are square, toes should be slightly pointed out. Even though they're pointed out, they're still squared off with the stick. And when we go down, once again, we just want to make sure that the knees are going to go out, our head's going to be up, our chest is out, glutes are engaged, all of that is happening. Okay, so that feels about right. My feet are still squared off. So this may feel like you're doing everything right, but there's still one major problem. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this stick and I'm going to put this right at my hip level. So once I have this at my hips, this should really be square with my feet and my head. So those are kind of the 3 checkpoints. But if I happen to just slightly rotate my hips, but I keep my head and my chest and my feet, all of that feels right, except for something's not right here. So we're all asymmetrical people. We develop imbalances, and it's really a common problem, but we may not even know we're doing it. If I took this out of the picture, I wouldn't even really probably feel that my hips were rotating open. Because if it's kind of my normal stance, how would I recognize that's what was happening? So I'm going to take this, I'm going to rotate my hips, but I'm going to try to keep everything else straight. This might be a little over exaggerated, but that's okay. We just want to kind of see what's happening here to show you what's really going on. So my hips are opening up. Now, if I'm going to go down into a normal squat, this is what's going to happen. Okay, my head's forward, my feet are still squared off, my hips have turned and rotated. So now I'm going to go down like I should be squatting, and what's happening here? Look at that right knee. So we've got some major valgus at the knee happening, or knee collapse here. That's going to be an issue in the future. That's repeatedly over time. That's going to cause some damage. So what we want to do is make sure that we're squared at all of these 3 checkpoints that I was just mentioning earlier. So a way that we can actually check to make sure that our hips aren't somehow opening or rotating due to some kind of muscle imbalance, maybe just the way that our body's built, the best thing you can do is take the same stick and you're just going to tighten your glutes at the top. Or actually, you don't even really have to have the stick for that. You can get rid of that now. So when you're getting in your stance for your squat, you're just going to think about totally tightening your glutes. We're just going to tighten those up. I'm going to bring this back in just to make a point. So we're going to tighten those glutes, because what's that going to do? It's going to make everything square off. So now I really feel like, okay, it got squared off because my glutes are making sure that my hips are straight. So before every rep, I'm going to think about, okay, I'm going to tighten those glutes, because I know that that's going to make everything square off. Otherwise, if I'm just going into my normal squat and I'm just kind of like, everything's just relaxed and whatever, guess what's going to happen? that's gonna happen without me even realizing it, because the glute's totally relaxed. It's just going back in its comfortable position. Then we go down and oh boy, what's happening? Oh, I don't realize, you know, that's kind of my normal squat stance, so I don't really think about it until I'm starting to have knee problems and oh, my hip's starting to feel weird. Well, why am I starting to have ankle problems? It's just gonna be injury after injury going to different parts of your body. The other thing is once you've completed your squat, once that squat is complete, feet are squared off, my glutes are tight, making sure my hips are straight, my head is straight, and I'm going down into my squat, then I want to make sure that I'm fully extending at the top. A lot of times you'll see people just kind of go here, you know, it's kind of like a mindless, but you really want to fully extend those hips at the top. Tighten up, that's where you can, once you've finished, here, down, tighten those glutes at the top, really press them in. That's what's going to keep your hips squared off. So, and just really quickly, another issue you can have, which you may have noticed with me, is my heels want to come off of the ground because I don't have the ankle flexibility or mobility in my ankles. I have some injuries there. So that makes it tough for me to go into a full squat, kind of keeping all these checkpoints when I'm really struggling because of my ankles. It wants to kind of throw me forward. It's disengaging the glutes. It's just kind of making even more of a mess of my squat. So what I do is a lot of ankle mobility exercises, but I also just slightly elevate my heels. That's going to allow me to get into a deeper squat and keep everything more in proper alignment. So for me, that's kind of another checkpoint, is what's happening with my ankles. Okay, you guys, I hope these tips were helpful. Remember those 3 checkpoints. Are my feet squared off? Are my hips squared off? Is it squared off with my head? How is everything going? These are really critical. This is gonna save any future injuries, and it's just going to make your squats so much more effective for your workout. Thanks for joining me. Hey, you guys, if you haven't checked out our new Max Shred program, go check it out. It's really good. We've got some super awesome science-based exercises to help you lose fat, put on some great muscle if that's what you're looking for, customizable workouts depending on your fitness level. Those meal plans are all customizable. They do these great meal swaps, or where you can add in different meals during the day and subtract things to lose extra pounds. It's such a great thing. Check it out, Max Shred.